On this episode of the Chris Meadows Show, there's an old saying, I told you so.
It's time for the Chris Meadows Show. Greensboro, Summerfield, Jamestown, Oak Ridge, Stokesdale, and all of Guilford County. Get ready. Chris Meadows is coming to you live right now.
Welcome back to the Chris Meadows Show. It's been a while and a lot has gone on. We are approaching the first full year of doing this podcast, and we started August of last year. We were in the midst of the City Council of Greensboro campaign and races, and every single show I did, I told my audience that we have to elect experienced, smart, business minded people. And that just didn't happen. And as you can see now in the city of Greensboro, and we'll talk about Guilford County in a little while, but the city of Greensboro is in disarray, I would say. Our city council is frankly lost. There are at least 4 people on the city council that have no business sense whatsoever, and it is showing. The mayor has blatantly lied to the citizens of Greensboro. She said she would not raise taxes, and she was for a neutral tax rate, a revenue neutral tax rate. And all 9 people on the city council voted to raise your taxes, your property taxes. And we'll be getting tax bills in the next couple months, and everybody will see how bad that lie was. Our mayor has no leadership skills, it seems, whatsoever. She's dealing with 3 or 4 people that have greater ambitions, and we'll get into that in just a moment. And then she's also dealing with 4 or 5 people that, I don't want to be terribly rude, but they just don't know what the hell's going on. And if you watch any of the city council meetings, there was actually a gentleman who spoke at the city council meeting this past Tuesday that worked for, I think he said 3 candidates, city council candidates, and he is having serious buyer's remorse. One reason is that the city is suing him or going after him for something. I don't know what on earth they could go after him for. But he spoke to city council and said that he helped some of these people get elected, and he was sorry about that. And just so you know, folks that may not be in the middle of politics, I happen to be in the middle of politics in Guilford County. And I get folks calling me and emailing and texting me and telling me all sorts of stuff. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on. So bear with me while I go over a couple things. Now, these are just rumors. Okay. I don't want to say this is the gospel or anything. But this person that spoke the other night, he said that one of the gentlemen that he supported is a dud. Now, we all knew that on our side of the aisle, that he was an incompetent. He didn't know what he was doing. But this person that helped him get elected said he was a dud and did not know what he was doing. Now, would you vet the candidate that you're supporting and helping the campaign on a daily basis? Wouldn't you want to vet that person a little bit more than just because he happens to be a black Democrat? I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. Skin color should be irrelevant in races, and Greensboro being a nonpartisan race, frankly, the party should not be relevant either. But in Greensboro, it is. So there's another city council person who really, it seems, does not want to be there at all. And There were rumors several weeks ago that she was lobbying to head up the Downtown Greensboro Inc., the DGI, if you've seen it in the paper and so forth. And then there was rumors that she wasn't interested. So I sent her an email asking her point blank, "Are you going after the DGI job?" No response whatsoever. Now, rumors have floated back up this past week, 10 days maybe, that she wants that job badly. Probably because it pays a couple hundred grand versus the city council job that pays 25 or 30,000, I don't know. And she probably wouldn't even have to give that up because of conflicts of interest. None of these city council members give a crap about conflicts of interest. And we'll touch on that also. So again, she did not respond. And another rumor, again, not confirmed facts, but there's evidently an active campaign going on right now to remove April Parker, who won District 3. Um, she's one of those 4 or 5 people that really don't know what the heck they're doing. And there were activist groups that flooded Greensboro trying to get her elected. Again, I don't know why anybody wants to have incompetent people leading their city, but evidently some of these activist groups don't care about competence. And there's also rumors that, and this has been on a couple web pages, Facebook posts and pages um, created strictly to talk about the city council members. And and I got a message from someone that asked me to if I would support a recall effort um, for the mayor. I said, "Well, I didn't vote for her the first time. I wouldn't vote for her the second time." And so there may be a developing recall effort against the mayor. We can only hope. But lastly, there is a rumor, and I'm not going to mention the name of this person, but there's a rumor that an investigation may be underway or coming soon because one of the council members is involved in about a $500,000 embezzlement scheme. Now, that would be uh, pretty bad, I think, if one of the council members has been stealing money from either organizations that receives taxpayer dollars, which I am completely against any nonprofits receiving taxpayer monies. Foundations that these folks have formed so that they can get salaries out of them. A massive conflict of interest. So now maybe one of these folks is embezzling money from these so-called nonprofits and foundations that they form. Now, there was a state of the city address a few weeks ago by our mayor, and it was, if it wasn't so sad, it would have been comical. She didn't address the property tax issues, the record tax increase that we're about to start paying. She blew smoke about all this other stuff that she had no real input on. She's been on the city council, but she didn't have anything to do with it. She just didn't. But the way she was talking was that hey, it was her and her city council that are bringing jobs to the city, and let me assure you, it's not. So as we talk about the tax increases in Greensboro and Guilford County, um, I told you every episode of my podcast up through February when the tax bills came out that this was coming. And you people still voted, the majority of you people still voted for these folks that want to raise your taxes and did raise your taxes. They voted 9-0 to raise your property taxes. 9-0. There was not one person on the current city council that thought it was a bad idea to raise your taxes. And they're all left of center. They're all registered Democrats or commies or socialists or whatever you want to call them, but they all voted to make you spend more money, every single one of them. And if you voted for them, this is your fault. Your vote for them made us pay more. And on the left side of the aisle, all they do is complain about affordability. And food and shelter are your two essentials in your monthly or yearly or weekly uh, payments and bills. And you Democrats on the city council and everyone that voted for you have just voted to raise your monthly, weekly expenses. So who are you going to blame? You just made your housing more expensive. One of the two bills you got to pay every month is going up by 20, 30, 40%. Whether you own your house outright, your annual tax bill is going up. If you have a mortgage, your mortgage payment is going up. If you rent, your rent is going up. So it affects everybody. Doesn't matter what political party you belong to, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter your race, your ethnic background, your religion, it doesn't matter. Your bills are going up. And if you voted for it, I'm going to have to question your intelligence. So if you have a comment on that, guess what? My email is right there. You can email me, complain. You can come on my podcast. I've invited some of these politicians on my podcast before. No response. And you know why? Because they don't have an answer. Because Democrats never have an answer. And all they want to do is raise your taxes. And it's the same on the Guilford County Commission. It may be worse. They did not raise the rate as much as the city of Greensboro did, but they still raised it. So everybody, you're going to pay more. And if you voted for it, shame on you. And there is an answer. Quit voting for them. If someone raised your taxes, don't vote for them. If they belong to the party that always raises your taxes in Greensboro and Guilford County, quit voting for that party. And you have a choice in November for the at-large race for Guilford County. There is one person that is against raising your property taxes. His name's Tony Jack Belly. He's on the ballot. Vote for him. He will fight to lower your property taxes. His opponent, last name is Drumright. That guy, I tell you what, he's got some issues. I heard there's going to be some nasty stuff coming out about him, but he is pro high tax. He says he's not. He's trying to get people to vote for him, but he is definitely for raising taxes, and he has said as much at a county commissioners meeting. He said it. He said he wants to raise corporate taxes. These wealthy corporations aren't paying enough. Well, that's just plain stupid. That is so dumb. It's unbelievable. Because any business that raises their taxes, it's going to go down. It's going to be funneled down to the consumer that uses their services or buys their products. So raising taxes on corporations is just that is a dumb idea, and it comes from people that have probably never had a real job before. So we're going to take a little break. Appreciate you coming back to watch this podcast. Again, I know it's been a few months, but there's been a lot going on. A lot's happened. And when we come back, we'll start talking a little bit about what's happening at the state level. We'll be back in a minute.
You're listening to The Chris Meadows Show. Join us on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify at The Chris Meadows Show.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the music. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the state races and politics across the state. And there are several judges races that you'll get to vote for in November. There's one in particular I think really I think they all should be important, and they are important. And you should vote for the the conservatives, in my opinion, because it seems they're the only ones that abide by the law, the written law, and the Constitution. And we've seen this in the past from our state Supreme Court justices and Court of Appeals and things like that. But the race that's I'm going to mention is the state Supreme Court race between Sarah Stevens and Anita Earls. I just want to give everybody a quick history lesson. Judges and all public officials take an oath to uphold the Constitution, both the United States Constitution and the North Carolina Constitution. So Anita Earls has been on the state Supreme Court for a while. And if you recall, back in 2018 or 2020, it may have been before that, I'm not sure. But the voters of North Carolina across the state overwhelmingly voted for voter ID. They voted for it. The voters wanted as well over 60%. So if it was 65%, that's 2-1, voted for voter ID at the polls. It means you have to show your ID when you go vote. That's simple. It's smart. I mean, you got to show your ID when you go buy a beer or a pack of cigarettes or get on a plane or do anything else. You got to show an ID. And across the nation, it's up like the 80% of Americans agree that voter ID is a good idea. So anyway, back in 2020, I believe, Anita Earls almost single-handedly took your vote away. There was an injunction of some kind, and she said voter ID is not the law of the land. Well, you know what? The voters said it was, and she said no, and so it stopped it, and it went into the court system. And of course, now we have voter ID. The voters were right. The courts were right. She was wrong, but just keep that in mind that she is the one that stopped voter ID for a couple years, and that's horrible. When 80% of the people want it, and a judge says no, she's wrong, and the law said yes. She said no. Constitution now says yes. It's now part of the Constitution that we have voter ID. So Sarah Stevens will uphold the law. So if you want a law-abiding judge, vote for Sarah Stevens. Anita Earls is just the wrong person. It's time to retire her. The other major race across the state is our U.S. Senate race between our former governor, Roy Cooper, and Michael Whatley, who was the chairman of the Republican Party for a while, and then he was the chairman of the Republican National Committee across the country. So it's down to those two. Let's talk about Roy Cooper's tenure as governor. I would say it was pretty darn bad. His ads, it seems everything in his ads is a complete fabrication of the truth. I mean, it's ridiculous, some things he says. So let's talk about some of the things that he says in his ads. He said he is pro-police, defunding the police is a bad idea. Well, pardon my French, but no shit, Sherlock. We knew that. Everybody knows that except you liberals. So this is what he did. Following the pandemic, or during the pandemic, he released approximately 3,500 inmates in our prisons. Okay, 48% of those released reoffended in 2 years. Okay, so he didn't want them to get COVID, and he says, "Oh, it was a settlement between the ACLU and the NACC, excuse me, NAACP." So the settlement, though, was made by his Democrat Attorney General and these organizations. So it's kind of a cop out. He says it was a settlement done by someone else. His Attorney General and these organizations settled it. So 3,500 people released so they wouldn't get COVID. If anybody should get COVID, it's prisoners, violent criminals. Who cares if they get COVID? And that may sound harsh, but would you rather your grandmother get COVID or would you rather a murderer get COVID in prison? According to Cooper, he says he'd rather your grandma get it and release the murderer so the murderer can kill again. And that's what happened. 77 people that were released due to Roy Cooper murdered again. So I would say that Roy Cooper has blood on his hands. And it's like 1,100 people recommitted violent crimes, whether it be murder, sexual assault, rape, other felony charges. But 77 people killed again because Roy Cooper let them out. Now, in some of his ads, and one of his ads says that he wants to keep violent criminals in jail. Well, he released violent criminals so they wouldn't get COVID. So there's one big lie. And then he says he wants to hold insurance companies accountable. That's nonsense. Some of our highest insurance rate increases were under his tenure right after COVID and right before COVID. So he has never held an insurance company accountable for anything. And then he wants tax credits for middle income people, low to middle income people. Well, you know what? He vetoed every single budget with a tax cut in it during his tenure. So, what is it, Roy? Do you want to give people tax cuts? Your record doesn't show that at all. You vetoed budgets with tax cuts in them, every one of them during your tenure. And the electric bills going up, well, that's all done by the Utility Commission. And under his tenure, utility bills went up a whole lot. So when we talk about the affordability issues that Democrats keep talking about or want to talk about, in North Carolina, Roy Cooper caused a lot of this, a lot of your utility bills to go up, your insurance bills to go up, and people died. Murderers got out of jail because of him, and they killed again. And a friend of mine today sent me an article that one of the energy companies here in North Carolina that received hundreds of millions of dollars of incentive money from the state of North Carolina, they made donations to Roy Cooper from when he was district attorney to governor and now to a Senate campaign. And the CEO of that company, his father was hired by Roy Cooper to run some energy agency here in North Carolina, or housing agency here in North Carolina. So a little bit of a corruption issue with Roy Cooper there. So energy costs went up, insurance costs went up, and taxes could have gone down more if he didn't veto everything. So Roy Cooper is not your friend. And when he talks about affordability, it's a bunch of BS. So keep that in mind. I happen to know Michael Watley. He's a smart guy. He wants to lower taxes. He wants to lower your energy bill. He's an America First guy, which I don't know why that seems to be a bad thing with Democrats. Are they America Last? If you're not America First, it means you're America Last. So we need to get Watley in there, and he'd be 1,000 times better than Roy Cooper. When we come back, in the last segment, we'll talk a little bit about what's happening across the nation, and we'll see you in a minute.
You're listening to The Chris Meadows Show. Join us on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify at The Chris Meadows Show.
Welcome back. In this next segment, we'll talk a little bit about national politics and what's happening across the country and the world. And I've said it before. I'm sure I'll say it again 100 times. But Trump derangement syndrome is real. TDS is real, and it continues to be an affliction that seems to only happen to liberals. And they seem to be so confused. They don't know what they're talking about. They can only say, Trump is evil, Trump is a fascist, blah, blah, blah. And it's so dumb. You ask one of these protesters what a fascist is, they don't know. They haven't read any history books, never studied Western civilization. Um, when I hear the word fascist, I think of Adolf Hitler, who killed 6 million Jews. I think of Stalin, who killed estimated, no one really knows, but 20 million people in the Soviet Union. Mussolini, we don't know how many people he killed. Mao Zedong, China, there's estimates between 50 and 100 million people. That's fascism, people. That's fascism, okay? Um, and they're all socialist and or communist. And to call an American president a fascist is just historically inaccurate. And if you think they are, you should open a history book and actually read it. Don't believe your hippie professor who is probably a socialist, and we see that across the country and college campuses. So, um, study a little history, real history, not rewritten history. Um, Speaking of socialist and communist, uh, I guess back in November, I had a couple of folks on talking about the races and the mayor of New York, Mamdani or whatever his name is. I mean, that guy is a commie if I've ever seen one, and an anti-Semite. That guy hates Jewish people. Period. There's nothing else you can say about it, I guess. And this movement, this DSA, Democrat Socialist of America movement, um, is destructive to the fabric of America. Doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, a moderate Democrat. Um, the DSA is going to destroy the Democrat Party if it hasn't already completely destroyed it. So if you're a registered Democrat, you should go unaffiliated and and vote Republican one time, and you'll see the world be a better place. America be a better place. I just there is no winning outcome if a socialist slash commie is elected. There is no good answer or outcome if they get elected. And you're seeing it across the country, mostly in big cities, but it happened in Denver's a big city, but Colorado, in one of their congressional districts, one of these socialist people is running in a blue district, and she'll probably get elected. And the problem with the voters in any of these districts that elect these socialists is that their TDS is so bad that they would rather elect a socialist than a moderate Republican because there probably aren't any real far right Republicans running in these blue districts. They're probably very moderate, and I don't know all of them, but across the country, certainly in Colorado, if there's a Republican running in that district, Colorado Republicans are not far right. I've met a few of them, and trust me, they are not real conservative people. They're pretty moderate, common sense people. And if you're a Democrat in Colorado, in Denver area, you should probably vote for the Republican over the socialist. Um, Same thing in Michigan. Their primary is I don't know if it's next week or it's soon, but they have a Muslim socialist that is up for the U.S. Senate seat. There is a primary. It's going to be a tight primary, from what I understand. But Michigan typically votes blue for their senators and their congresspeople across most of the state. But I mean, this guy is he hates Jews, I think, more than Mamdani in New York City, and and that crazy guy out of Texas, Tallarico or whatever. I mean, come on. I know lots of people in Texas, and I cannot imagine that the voters vote for that guy over the his opponent, Ken Paxton, I believe, is a Republican. And so Republicans need to get out, but Democrats need to take a breath. If you're middle of the road, you're unaffiliated, don't vote for a socialist. That's just plain stupid. Okay, let's be honest. It's stupid to vote for any type of person that believes that socialism is a good idea. And I blame our education system. I blame liberal parents that let their kids get so liberal that they go off the deep end and they think socialism is okay. If you have an adult child that thinks socialism is okay, shame on you. You failed in that part of their life to let them believe that socialism is a good idea. Um, you need to sit down and have a conversation with them because it's just dumb. That's all there is to it. It's just dumb, and you should try and change it. Tell them, cut them off, do whatever you need to do. Uh, I'm very fortunate that my kids also think socialism is stupid, and they're adults. Been through college, graduated college, and have great jobs, very professional, smart people, and they think socialism is stupid. So, if any politician supports Hamas terrorists, and they're anti-Semitic, uh, they can't get your vote or shouldn't get your vote in America. Part of the Democrat story is, the war in Iran is not going well. I would disagree with that because they have no nuclear capacity anymore, and that's what they wanted. And why did they want that? Well, they made no secret about it. Iran wanted to kill every Jew on the planet. That was their mission statement. That, and then they wanted to kill every American. They wanted to destroy America, and they wanted to kill every Jewish person there is. They made no secret about it. That's what they wanted to do. And if you support that, I think you're in the wrong place. I think you're a horrible person if you want to support Hamas terrorists. Excuse me. Uh, because they all want to kill Jews, and that's pretty bad. You need to look in the mirror if you're voting for any of these people, and ask yourself what the hell is wrong with you. And I think it's the right thing to do to stop terrorists from killing people. And this war is about stopping Iran and their surrogates from killing people across the world. And the people that are against it, it's because they're against Trump. And again, that goes back to TDS. Uh, and it's a sad state that if you are okay with Iran killing people because you hate Donald Trump, that's just dumb. I'm sorry. I've said dumb a lot today because I'm tired of beating around the bush with people. I've invited people on my podcast that may take that position occasionally, but maybe they don't want to be questioned to their face and answer hard questions. But I invite everybody on. Any politician or candidate wants to come on my show, there's my email. Come on, we'll talk about it. Bring your point of view. If it's any good, you'll be able to defend it. If not, maybe you should change your point of view. So that's really all I got to talk about today. We're going to pick up the pace on the podcast over the next few months as we go into elections. So if you have any questions, any comments, again, you can email me right there, and I'll answer your email. You want to argue with me? Come on my show, or pleasantly discuss something. Come on, we can talk about it, and hope to see you next time.